happy standing over there? If you want, there's a coat rack just out to the right. You can hang your coats up. And there's a lot of noise coming in from behind me. I hope in the, it's called the green room. I call it the kitchen. So hopefully that doesn't disturb you. So welcome everybody to the Cosmopolitan Music Hall on this sunny, cold day in March. At least it's not snowing, as it was 2 weeks ago when we initially planned this event. And it's only 19 days to the first day of spring. My name is Stephanie Foster, and it's my pleasure to be your host today as we celebrate and pay tribute to Paul Wickham, who I knew best as Wick. Paul's daughter Caitlin and brother Colin have put a lot of effort into organizing what I expect will be a memorable afternoon, and you'll hear from both of them a bit later on. It would really warm Paul's heart to see you all here today to share a final farewell, to honor and remember his life well lived and ended too soon. I'm sure we'll share some laughs and tears today. Paul meant a lot of things to many people in his life. He was a father, a brother, a cousin, a friend, an uncle, a musician, a teacher, a mentor, and a wilderness guide. In so many different ways, Paul inspired and influenced us. But one theme that was constant throughout Paul's life was music, and that is the thread woven throughout today's program. Today we're going to share some music, memories, and reminiscence of Paul that will remind us all of the impact he had on our lives. Now, before we get started with the program, just a few logistical moments. I think many of you have hopefully seen the little folded pamphlet with the program for today. If not, they're just over on the table to my left, your right. So we have a mix of music and speakers, and we also have put in a couple of breaks. I'm going to go with the flow, so I'm not going to say a break. It's going to be an exact amount of time because we want to keep moving and flowing. And I'll announce when the breaks are going to be ended, and we'll start the program again. There's coffee, some cold beverages, sandwiches, snack trays, and cookies in the kitchen as if you like. Please just don't bring any food into the theater. Also, as many of you may know, Paul was an avid reader, and there's a table full of books and magazines and various publications that Colin took for his place. Please feel free to peruse it, and if a book resonates you, interests you, please take it home with you. That would make Paul very happy. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Paul's brother Darcy Wickham to say a few words and play a song for Paul.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming to honor my brother. I was his first guitar teacher. This little kid said, "Hey, I want to learn how to do what you're doing." So I ended up teaching him. And boy, he sure went from there and developed his playing incredibly well. And so this is a song that I dedicated to my brother Paul, and it's called Tribute to Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darcy. That was beautiful. So the first time I met Paul Wickham, was when he was playing with a band called Whiskey Jack at the Trent Inn in Peterborough. I was going to Trent University at the time. The year was 1977. And at the time, he was playing with Duncan Fremlin and John Hoffman, maybe this was one of the first times they had got together to play some bluegrass. So I think this is a bit of a reunion because we have the first two original members of Whiskey Jack with us. It's now my pleasure to present Duncan and John, and I think you're going to be joined by Dalen. Okay. And I think Dalen Henschel is also going to be accompanying them. Oh, they got a band.
We even have a name.
Because Duncan and I can't really play anymore. So.
But we have a name. We're calling ourselves the Dullards. So when I first heard Colin email me, tell me that Paul had died, my first thought was, holy shit, I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing, playing music if it hadn't been for Paul Wickham. And John and I were just trying to figure out where we first met him, and there used to be a jam session downtown Toronto in the 70s. Once a month maybe, I can't remember exactly, but all the bluegrassers would get together. It was such a hot music at that time. It was just starting, Carlisle was happening. In fact, Paul and John and I became part of the security forces at Carlisle, working backstage and roaming around, taking abuse from all of the bikers that were in the crowd yelling. We had staff written on our back, and Paul and I walking through, and the bikers calling us names, but we were backstage. So the hell with them, what do they know? Anyway, I was just making some notes, John. I just, so many memories, fantastic. Like I said, Paul lived on Sudan downtown in the Leaside area. I lived in Cabbagetown, and during the day, when we first met, first of all, he was a real musician. I was just starting out. I knew 3 chords, and I learned the 4th one.
Paul knew 4.
Paul knew 4, but I also say that we went from playing 100 beats per minute, and when Paul joined us, we went up to 160 beats per minute. And some of the early stuff that we have recorded, Colin has copies of it. Man, they're fast. Holy jumping.
And we're back down to 60 beats per minute.
Yeah, we're down to 60, yeah. But in the afternoon, Paul would come to my house. I'd skip off work and sneak out. They never even knew I was gone. I was working for the province at the time. And we'd spend 2 or 3 hours in my living room playing. Well, I'll just give you this song. Haven't played this in a long time, hours. We'd play that for hours. And then in the evening, I'd call John. He was getting home from work or something, and I'd pick John up, and we'd go to Paul's house in Sudan, and we'd play for another 2 or 3 hours. We got really good, really fast. And with John's vocal arranging skills, next thing you know, I quit my job. Not that it was much of a job, but it was a job. I had just had a new baby in the house. What the hell was I thinking? But it gives you an idea of what the music scene was like back then. So Paul was this little boy. Remember, John? We all knew that boyish grin that he had on his face. It was a devil. And in the middle after about 45 minutes of that song, he'd get really excited because then he was trying a different lick, and it just got faster and faster and cleaner and cleaner. And next thing you know, we're playing, the worst bars in Ontario and having the time of our lives.
Yeah.
Except for the Rockcliffe Hotel.
Schumacher. And
Port Rowan.
Yeah.
The rooms they gave us had
Nice
holes
ones.
in the wall. They were really bad. I think Paul's favorite night was the night in Minden at the Rockcliffe Hotel. How that place remained open all those years, I have no idea. You walk in and it just reeked of carpet, reeked of beer and cigarette smoke. and they let them get drunk. So anyway, one night, it was a Saturday night, and the Hells Angels came in just before closing, and I guess they had been partying, and we ended the night what we thought was going to be the end of the night, and they decided, well, they wanted the party to continue, so they went up, and fortunately for me, my banjo was in the case, and I was the hell out of there. Paul was a little slow. The next thing you know, there's this big biker up there with his precious Martin strumming away on this thing, and the best thing happened. He broke a string. But I remember the look on Paul. He's standing there like this.
Yeah, distressed.
Oh my, he just... So...
Well, one of the things Paul did was we had a repertoire that we'd been doing, and Paul brought a lot of he taught us a lot of songs.
He did.
We're going to sing a couple of the songs he did today. The first one's if anybody knows who the Stanley Brothers are, this is a Stanley Brothers song called If I Leave.
Colin and Mike join us. How great is this, eh?
Yeah, and they sort of know the songs too.
Yeah,
so
it's great.
Know where the key of A.
The first one's in the key of
You
A.
can play in D. I think it probably sounded about the same.
Right. 1, 2, 3. I never thought I'd leave you. Now I find I'm wrong. Come on back, sweet mama, back where you belong. I try to gamble all over town to find that I can't win. Come on, baby, pick me up again. If I lose, let me lose. I don't care how much I lose. If I lose $100, I'll try to win a dime. Well, baby, she's got money all the time. By my side, babe, the deal just can't go down. Well, if I lose, let me lose. I don't care how much I lose. If I lose $100, I'll try to win a dime. Well, baby, she's got money all the time. If I lose $100, I'll try to win a dime. While baby, she's got money all the time. While baby, she's got money all the time.
They played it better than me.
Guys,
So it's an interesting thing for me about Paul. We played a lot of bluegrass over the years, and then I connected with Paul again years later when he used to come to Peterborough on Sundays to visit his mom, and he'd go to he'd have lunch with her, and then he'd go to the Celtic Jam at the Black Horse Tavern. I was into getting into Irish music, so Paul and I played bluegrass together, and then years and years later we played Irish music together, which was kind of cool. But Paul was the first time I ever heard a Planksty album was at Paul's house. Little did I know I'd be playing that music 30 years later.
This whole thing started one day when this little blonde-haired hippie kid walked in my door with his tear-shaped mandolin, wearing a toque that he had knitted himself.
No, it's crochet.
It's crochet. Sorry, it was John. And I don't know when we met Paul, but it was shortly after that. We had a guitar player at the time who was, a great friend and stuff. He was never going to be our guitar player because he wasn't taking it as seriously as Paul. But so Paul's first gig with us was on Dobro. Really, I think he played Dobro with us probably for a month or two before we finally realized that he played guitar better than this other guy. And then we fire him, John?
I don't remember.
How are we going to fire these guys? Is there? Yeah. John, how are we going to fire these guys?
I don't know. Let's play another tune. This is Paul was enamored of the White brothers, Clarence White, in what was their other? Oh, the
Kentucky Colonels. Yeah.
Roland White, Clarence White, Eric White, and they had a dobro player called Leroy Mack who wrote some songs. And this is a Leroy Mack song that Paul taught us. D, yeah. It's called If You're Ever Gonna Love Me.
It's not the most uplifting song in the world, but
Can we start on 5?
yeah.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
Right, okay.
1, 2, 3. If you're ever gonna love me, what I wanna know is there's just one way that you can show it. If you don't start treating me better, you see, I'm gonna do away with me. I'm gonna go down where the river's deeper. Ain't taking no chances now, you see. If you don't start treating me a little bit better, I'm gonna do away with me. Told you it was dark. If you're ever gonna love me, what I wanna know is there's just one way that you can show it. If you don't start treating me better, you see, I'm gonna do away with me.
Tell me how you feel about it. You're running me crazy, can't you see? If you don't start treating me a little bit better, I'm gonna do away with me. If you're ever gonna love me, what I wanna know is there's just one way that you can show it. If you don't start treating me better, you see, I'm gonna do away with me. I'm gonna do away with me. Thanks very much, and thanks Colin for inviting us to this. It's great to see the brothers again after all these years, and look forward to. You got any more pictures? Oh, really? That fast? This called Sally Good. This is for Colin.
Bravo, that was awesome. I'm glad they mentioned Clarence White. Would be happy about that too. His hero, one of his heroes. Now I'd like to welcome Mike Boel to the stage. His face will be familiar to many of you from the Cosmo School of Music that are here. Mike's been teaching electric guitar, acoustic guitar, mandolin, ukulele, and beginner bass to all age groups for over 30 years. Mike has also been faculty for the Guitar Workshop Plus, which we will hear a bit more about in the next segment. I think Mike's going to play a couple of instrumentals.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I've known Paul for almost 30 years, and we got to know each other here and through the Guitar Workshop Plus. I have to take my glasses off, I can't see anybody. And yeah, it's just some great times over the years, hanging out and lots of laughs, and shared a mutual love of bluegrass music and old-time music, and spent a lot of time
listen to Clarence White and listen to Tony Rice and playing together in our breaks, and lots of years at the Guitar Workshop. Paul and I ran the acoustic section of that together as a bit of a team, and yeah. So I'm gonna play a couple of fiddle tunes, and music that him and I both loved. So I think I'm gonna play a tune called Gold Rush and Beaumont Rag.
asked for your guitar, but not to say Thanks, Mike. As some of you know, Paul was a longtime Guitar Workshop Plus faculty member. Paul taught acoustic, bluegrass, and slide guitar with folks like Mike, and really was a member of the GWP family for over 20 years. He really looked forward to joining the program every summer, and he'd come back and show my husband and I, John, videos to show the students' final performance at their final recitals, which were always pretty impressive. Today, Rob Boger, Assistant Director of the Guitar Workshop Plus, is with us. Rob is Emeritus Music Instructor, I think that means retired, having taught at Humber and Centennial colleges and the Toronto Guitar Workshop for many years. Rob is joined by Dale and Henschel, who is a grad of Humber College, where I gather they might have met along the way. Dalen is an accomplished musician and a composer, and I was impressed to read that Dalen's repertoire includes country, jazz, folk, and classical. Welcome, Rob and Dalen.
We'll meet again.
rocking number there. So we're going to take a break here. We're going to ask Payman or someone if we can get some more chairs out during the break for people who are standing. And there is a coat rack for those who have just arrived up the stairs and to your right if you want to lighten your load. So coffee, some cold beverages, sandwiches, snacks in the kitchen, just up the stairs. And when we come back, we're going to hear from some of Wick's students. Is that a cat? So I'll call you back in 10 minutes or so, 10 or 15. Thanks.